Hello and welcome to the 16th video in the PHP e-commerce series. My name is Curtis with Free Skills and we are going to get started here. In this video what we're going to do is use this button here to open a modal to enter our sizes and quantities for our product. So I want to get the modal done, and I think it'd be a good idea to start form validation if we get to it in this video. If not, we'll do form validation and adding to the database in the next video, and then we will work on editing and deleting products. So let's get started here. To make this a little easier, just go ahead and go to getbootstrap.com, and what we're going to do is go to components, I believe, and now let's try JavaScript. Yeah, in JavaScript, and then there's a modal here, and we're going to copy, let's see, we're going to copy this simple modal right here, this one. Alright, so I'm not going to copy the button. We don't need the button, we already have a button, so I'm just going to copy right here from where it says modal down. And we'll go into our products here, and I'm going to paste that, let's see, go to our form here. Here's our form. So underneath our form, I'm just going to go ahead and paste that modal right there. So let's go back to our button here. So if you look at sizes, right here, this button here opens the sizes modal, so we need to give it that as an ID. So let's go ahead on here now, and here it is, the modal, and we're going to, in the ID here, it needs to be sizes, and we'll do sizes. These right here are just for screen readers, so you can leave them if you want, or you can get rid of them. Probably a good idea to leave them if you're going to use this in real life, because you want people to, handicapped or whatever, to be able to, your website needs to be accessible to them. So let's see, class modal title, this right here, the ID here, we need to change this as well. Okay. And right here in the title, we're going to put this as size and quantity. Okay. In the footer, this data dismiss is fine. We're going to leave that. And then save changes, we'll leave that. But what we're going to do is add an on-click event here. And on the on-click event, we're going to actually do three things. We're going to call the update sizes function, which we haven't created yet. We will. It's a JavaScript function, and then we're going to toggle this modal, so jQuery, and then we're going to put in our sizes modal to target, and we'll do dot modal and toggle. Okay. And semicolon, and then we're also going to return false, semicolon. Okay, so we need to go ahead and create this on click up the sizes here, and that we're going to do that in a footer where we put this other function. So just right above that function, let's create another function here. These are JavaScript functions, so we're going to say update sizes. Okay, and for now we're just going to say alert update sizes, just so that we know that this is working, and that's all we're going to do for now. Let's go ahead and look at our modal now. If I refresh the page and we click this button, you got our sizes here. If I hit close, it closes, and let's try save changes. Okay, here's our JavaScript alert. Hit OK, then it closes it, and then that toggle happens. So, but we don't want just these three dots here. We actually want to have some more form inputs there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our products page now, and let's go ahead and give this, let's give this modal another class, and we're going to give it a class of, let's go look here at Bootstrap. I think it's large modal. Let's see. Yeah, so we can do BS example modal large. Okay. As a class. So I guess that's Bootstrap example. I don't know why it's the example. Maybe we can just try modal dash large, see if that works. And if it doesn't, we'll do BS. So we're going to do modal dash large. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, refresh the page here, pop it open, and it looks like we're going to have to do the BS example. Okay, refresh the page. What did I do wrong? What we're going to do here is get rid of this BS example. It does need to be right here in this class. We'll refresh this page, pop it. Okay, there we go. Now we have the large modal. That's what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and populate this now. Right here in the class body, what I want to do is we're going to do a for loop here, and we're going to go ahead and use this syntax here and end for. Okay, and right here, don't want to forget our PHP tags. Okay, so in a for loop, we need to use three little things in here, three parameters kind of. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give it a variable of I to keep track of how many times we iterate, and we're going to make that equal to 1. A lot of times you would start with 0 because of 0 base index, but I'm going to start with 1. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to set if I is less than or equal to 12, because I want to do this. I want to run a loop 12 times. Okay, and this is going to run the loop 12 times. And by the way, I put a comma here, and it's actually supposed to be a semicolon, and a semicolon here at the end. And then the last thing we want to do is after it runs, we want to do I++. So what it's going to do is it's going to start with this as I is equal to 1. So then it's going to do the check here. It's going to say if I is less than or equal to 12. Well, if it's 1, yes, it's going to do it. It's going to run a loop, and then at the end of the loop, it's going to add 1 to it, which is what this does here. And then it's going to go through the check again. So this will be 2 this time, and it's going to go up until this equals 12. So it's going to run this loop 12 times. So what I want to do inside of this loop is we're going to do 2 divs. We're going to give it class of form group, and we're going to give it column medium 4. Okay, and then we'll close that div, and we will give us a label, and this is going to be 4. Now this ID needs to be 4. The first thing is going to be size. Okay, so 4 size, and then what we're going to do is echo out I right here, and what that's going to do is going to give it size 1, and the next time it'll be size 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and close the label tag, and inside of this we're going to put size. Okay, and then we need our input. So the input for this is going to, we need a type of text, a name equals size, and then we'll go ahead and echo out I here. Okay, and then we need an ID equal to size, and then we will echo out I, and then value, we're going to come back to value. For now we're going to leave it blank. Okay, so what have I done here? It looks like, oh, I forgot to close these PHP tags. Alright, so now I'm just going to copy this whole div and do one more here, except for I'm going to change the column to 2, and right here I'm going to change this to quantity, and I'm going to change this to quantity. This is going to actually be a number, okay, and then we'll do QTY, and then we're going to set a min equals 0 on that, so that they can't do negative numbers. Alright, so let's take a look what this looks like. It's going to loop through, it's going to put both of these fields in here 12 times inside of that modal. So let's refresh the page, pop this open, and I have done something wrong. A couple things. This needs a class equal to form control, form group. This one will also need a class of form control. Okay, 4 plus 2 is 6, so this should do, there we go. I'm not sure why it has this line there. Size and quantity. Can't go below 0, so that's good. That's the numbers. Let's take a look here. Oh, I know what we did wrong. Okay, so inside of this body, we do need to wrap this whole thing. So I'm going to, outside of my loop, I'm going to give this a div with a class of container fluid. Okay, that'll make it responsive. And then after this for loop here, I need to close this div. Okay, this should take care of some of our problems. There we are. That's a lot better. I got it. All right. What we're going to be able to do now is, what we want to do is enter small and then give it a quantity, and then enter medium, give it a quantity, and just however many sizes there are, they can just kind of do this, extra large, and this is how it would be displayed, and these can all be left blank. So if I hit save changes, we want to save this as a string and input it into this preview so that we can prepare to enter that into the database. Alright, let's go ahead and build out our JavaScript function now to update our sizes into that string, and we have that right here. So we're just going to get rid of this alert, and what we're going to do is I'm going to create a variable called size string. Okay, you can call it whatever you want, but this is how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to set that as an empty string. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a for loop. So for, it's going to be really similar syntax to what we just did, but what we're going to do is say for I is equal to 1 and I is less than or equal to 12, and then we're going to do I, and what needs to happen here is just I plus plus, and I'm used to PHP, so we actually don't need these. We don't need the dollar signs. So var I equals 1, I less than, so same syntax pretty much as PHP, but instead of the dollar sign for JavaScript, we're going to use var here. And then when we reference that, we just need to reference I. We don't have to put var before. Alright. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to concatenate onto our size string. So we want to do, let's just look at our, we don't want to add these that are empty into our sizes string. So the first thing we're going to do is do an if check here. So if jQuery, and what are we going to select here? Well, we need to select, so we need to select size right here if that is not empty. So in our footer, if jQuery of size, okay, and then we're going to concatenate on, and in JavaScript you use a plus to concatenate, whereas in PHP you use a dot or a period. So we're going to concatenate on I. Alright, so that's going to check if I, or size of 1, size 1, each time it goes through the loop there, if that is not equal to an empty string, then we want to do something. What do we want to do? Well, we want to add on to our size string, so we're going to concatenate equals, and then we're going to put, remember we do size and then quantity. So if you remember the way we're storing this in our database, it was size first, okay, so size plus I dot val, so whatever that value is, and then we're going to concatenate on a string of a colon. Remember, we do a colon, and then we're going to concatenate on jQuery, and this time we're going to do QTY for quantity. So QTY, and then concatenate on I again. Alright, so it's going to do the size, the value of size 1, colon, and then the value of the quantity 1, so dot val. Alright, and then what we want to do is we want to concatenate on another string of just a comma. Okay? Actually, let's not do that. Let's not put the comma on that. Let's do that outside of this. Let's do another if statement here, and actually let's go ahead and, sorry, we are going to go ahead and put that comma on there. We can trim that off in PHP. Okay, so that's it. After we do this for loop here and it runs, we're going to have the size string built up. So then all we need to do is we're going to plug that value in to this right here. So let's look at the ID of that, and that was the size and quantity preview. So that was just called sizes with an S. So let's go back here to our footer, and right here inside of our function but outside of our loop, what we want to do now is say jQuery, and then select our sizes, okay, and then we're going to say dot val, and then inside of this we're going to pass it the size string. Alright, so that's it. Let's go ahead now, open this up. This is still here, and if well, we need to refresh the page actually. So let's try this out. If I say small 1, we'll do this in order so that we know that we have nothing mixed up. 2, large 1, 2, 3, and extra large 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we could continue to do, but we're not going to do anymore. So hit save, fire that off, and you can see now that here is our string. We got small 1, medium 2. So it's small colon 1, medium colon 2. But you can see we have a problem here. And for whatever reason, it continues for the rest of the loop. And we don't want that to happen. So let's go back and see what happened here. For if jQuery. Okay, what I forgot here was this .val. We need to check if the value of this is not equal to a blank string. Okay, there's nothing there. So let's go ahead now and refresh the page one more time. And let's try again. That was my mistake, sorry about that. Small 1, medium 2, large, we'll just do large 3, and we'll hit save changes, and there we go. We don't it didn't finish the loop, so our if statement's working correctly now. We have small colon 1, comma, medium colon 2, comma, large colon 3, comma. And if we look at our database under products and our sizes, that's exactly how we stored it. Small. These are some examples we entered earlier. And the reason we're doing this is just because we don't want them to have to remember this syntax right here. They can just enter it in this form here. So what we actually want to do is, like, now we haven't posted the form, but if I post the form and we have some errors, which we're going to do form validation next, if we don't want them to have to refill this out. So we need to put some logic and some values in here to pull from this. If this is posted, we need to go ahead and do that. So let's look at what we called that. We called that sizes. Okay, so up here at the top, what we want to do, if it gets set inside of this here, we're going to, inside of our PHP tags, we're going to make an array, and I'm going to put sizes array, okay, is equal to an empty array. Okay, and then I'm going to put an if statement, and in this if statement we're going to do if $_post. So if something has been posted, what do we want to do? Well, we're going to build up this sizes array. So what I want to do is do another if statement, and if not empty, and we'll do $_post of sizes. So if that's not empty and it's posted, what are we going to do? We are going to build this sizes array. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do size string is equal to, we'll sanitize this, sanitize, and then $_post sizes, just sizes. Okay, so then what we can do is create an array from this. So what we're going to do is, if not empty post sizes, then we're going to create an array, and we're going to do that by doing sizes array is equal to explode. This is a PHP function that we put in. So what do we want to explode by? We want to explode by commas. So for every comma, we want to make a new element in the array. So here we go. What do we get takes two parameters. I know this looks a little confusing, but the first one is just a string, and what are we exploding by? Comma. The next parameter is the string that you're going to turn into an array. Okay, so that's what that looks like. The other issue is we have a comma at the end of our string that we need to get rid of. So all we have to do to get rid of that is we'll just do size string size string equals to right trim. This is another PHP function. So the first value that, or the first parameter that it gets is the string that you're going to trim, and then what do you want to trim off the end? A comma. And it's going to trim it off the right. Okay? And we can actually, if you want to see that, we can echo size string. Okay? So let's go ahead now and we'll post that, and now you can see our size string, and you can see that there's not a comma on the end right there. So that's good. That's exactly what we want. But you can see that these values are gone now. And that's okay, we're going to fix that. That's what we're doing right here. So we got this sizes array now. The other thing I did is I created this empty array up here. We don't really want to do that. What we want to do is create that empty array if size array or sizes array is equal to an empty array. Yeah, there we go. We'll get rid of it here. So what that's going to do is it's basically going to check post, and then if this is not empty, it's going to run this. But if it is empty, it's going to just set it to an empty array. That way we won't have any undefined variables or arrays or anything. Okay, so now we have an array that it's going to have 1, 2, all the way after that 2, and 3 elements. So it should fill 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so what we're going to do is down here in our modal now, as we have access to this I already. And alright, so we need to plug in these values here. And so we're going to have to do a little bit more logic up here in our sizes array. So what we're going to do is we're going to say we're going to do a for each loop, okay, and we're going to say for each sizes array as size string, okay. Then we have access to each element, so this element's going to be size string, and then we're going to explode. So we're going to say we actually want to make another array here. So what we're going to do is we're going to say sizes are just S array, and we're going to put that equal to an empty array, and then we're going to say Q array. We'll put that empty to an empty array, or equal to an empty array. Alright, and then inside of this for each, we need to say S equals explode. So what do we want to explode? We want to explode by colon this time, and we're going to explode SS, which is coming from right here. So this is a string because each element in this is just a string, and we're going to say S is explode that. So then what we're going to do is we're going to set S array, because size came first, so S array, we're going to add to it is equal to S with an index of 0. Okay, and then we're going to do Q array, we're going to add to that, we're going to do S with an index of 1. Okay, so I know that doesn't, it's kind of a barrel of fish hooks here what we're doing. We have to explode this twice, because if you remember what our size string looked like, we're going to have an array that has 3 elements in the array, okay? But we need to break that up into 2 places, because we have a size and then we have a quantity. So this first one is the size, so we had to explode it again, and the second time we exploded by this colon. So that is happening right here. We're exploding, and then the first element of that array is the size, and the second element of that array is the quantity. Okay, so now that we have these two arrays built up, we can use them inside of our loop down here in our modal, because we're already going through this loop. So what we can do is set these values, okay? And these values can be a ternary operator. Of course, we need to go ahead and echo those out. PHP. Alright, and it's going to be a blank string, or if not empty, and then we have the first one is the S array, and then the element there, what we have to do is pass in this I of I, but that starts with a 0 index, so we just need to do a -1 there. So it's going to be, the first one will be 0, the next one will be 1, the next one will be 2, and so on and so forth. But remember, we started this I with 1, and that's why we have to do a -1 in this. So if it's not empty, then we want to go ahead and echo that out. S array, and we're going to do I -1. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and copy all this, because we only need to just change just one little part of this for the quantity, and that is this Q right here. This is going to be Q array, and this Q right there. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Let's refresh the page. Okay, so we have the small, medium, and large. Something's going on here with the values of these not being populated. So let's see what could be happening there. Q array of I. Oh, it has an S there. Wow. So that's just a typo. Okay. Alright, so let's try it out. Small 1, medium 2, large 3. That's all we'll need to do. So it creates our string right here, and if we hit post, we shows that. Then we click here now, everything is populated in here, and then you notice that if it's not, we're just getting blank information for the rest of them. So then if we hit, nothing happens if we change it, but we could go then and we can update this. Now we got 4 available. We can hit post, and then here we are. So that's working. That's exactly what we wanted to happen. So it looks like I have a just a typo in here. So let's go and look at that real quick. So up here in description, wow, you guys probably saw that the last video and were like, what the heck is this guy smoking? So if I post again, I gotta update the page. Let's just post. Okay, we don't have anything. Post that again. Alright, that's staying. Okay, post it again, blah blah blah, it's all staying, all good. Alright, let's just go ahead and test all of these, make sure. Now I know that some of these drop downs won't these won't stay. That's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video now, and I know that's kind of a long video, but we'll do form validation in the next video. So until then, I will see you in the next video.